guys, so today I'm going to talk about what's in my gear bag. So before we get started on what's inside, I just want to talk about one thing. So I know a lot of times it might feel like if you buy a nicer camera, your photos are going to be better. And while that is true in some senses, you also really need to master your manual settings and figure out what you really want to be shooting with before you just go and buy the most expensive camera available. So, you know, if you have a Mark IV, that's great. You know, it's gonna take really nice high-res photos, but if you're shooting it in auto mode, your photos aren't gonna look any better than if you were shooting on a Canon Rebel. So keep that in mind, master your skills, and as you see fit and as is necessary for you, upgrade your gear. So first and foremost, I'm gonna talk about the bag. So this is a Neewer brand bag that I got specifically for weddings. So the reason why I got this particular bag is because it's really multifunctional depending on, you know, the location that I might be in. It has wheels and it can roll like a rolling suitcase if you unzip this little pouch back here. It has backpack straps, so if I was on rocks, I can easily carry it on my back. And it just has a lot of compartments inside. I can fit all of my gear easily with extra space. So without further ado, let's get inside the bag. All right, so first thing that we'll talk about is camera bodies. So since I mainly shoot weddings, it's really important to have backups, backups, backups. So I always have 2 camera bodies on me at all times. My primary body is my Canon Mark IV. It's the best quality camera I have, so you know, for the getting ready part of the day, I will be mostly shooting on this. If I'm just shooting an engagement session where I don't really need to be hauling around 2 cameras on me the whole time, I'm probably just shooting on this. I also have the Canon 5D Mark III. It's really good camera. I have shot on this camera all last season, and it's also, you know, my backup body that I have on me in case for some reason this camera decides not to work on a wedding day. This camera's still gonna take amazing photos. These are not cheap cameras. You know, I totally like understand how frustrating it can be to not be able to afford a really decent camera. I majored in photography in college. I went through literally the first 3 years of my college education shooting on a Canon Rebel. And then before my thesis began, I decided I wanted to upgrade, and I upgraded to the camera that's filming this video right now, which is the Canon 60D. Still a cropped sensor camera, and I was still able to take pretty amazing photos on it. When it finally came time, my first investment that I made was this Mark III. I bought it used off of B&H, probably got $500 to $1,000 off the regular selling price. At the point when I bought this camera, this was the best camera that Canon was selling. So there were some used ones available. And then just recently I upgraded this to the Mark IV. At this point, this is like one of the best cameras that Canon is selling for wedding photography. So this I actually bought brand new just because I wanted something with a super low shutter count. I wanted something that I knew was going to be reliable and that was going to last as long as possible, because I did make quite an investment in this camera. However, I waited until Cyber Monday, and I think I got about $1,000 off this camera body. So you know, there's no shame in the deal getting game, so don't feel bad if you can't buy a camera outright. When I bought this camera, even though I bought it used, I literally got another credit card with a $5,000 limit on it just so that I could buy this camera and some of the other gear that I bought at the same time. So just keep that in mind. You know, I'm not like money isn't raining down in the sky for me and I can just buy whatever gear I want. Last year I had to rent gear when I shot weddings because I only had this one camera. So just don't worry if you're not quite there yet. So I'll talk about the lenses that are on each of these cameras. So this is the Tamron 35mm on here. The reason I got Tamron was because it's significantly cheaper than the Canon version and the photo quality is just as good. I read a lot of reviews online. I bought this lens used. I think I got it from Adorama and it works great. A 35mm is kind of like everybody's go-to lens. It's lightweight, it takes really nice photos, and it's really versatile. This on here is the 24-70. At the time when I got this lens, I really needed something that could zoom in, but also get really wide shots. It's a super, super versatile lens. It is pretty much appropriate for like any situation. However, I don't use it much anymore because I think it needs to be calibrated because the picture quality just is not quite as sharp as it should be, but it still works pretty good for video and I do use it when I need to, but that's a really good versatile lens if you are looking for something that can work in a lot of different scenarios. Lastly, for lenses, we have the 70-200. This is perfect for wedding ceremonies. I also really love this lens for portraits. You can get really nice compression, a really nice blurry background with nice crisp in focus shots. But it's heavy. It's hard on the body, it's hard to carry it around, so I don't like to have it on me like for a full 8-hour wedding. It just kills my back. I've shot entire weddings literally only on this lens and I was hurting the next day. So keep that in mind. For weddings, it's pretty much a necessity to have a flash. This is the Canon Speedlight 430EX3-RT. I mean, I don't really know much about this lens except that it was in the price range, it was recommended, and it works. It gets the job done. I don't really have much else to say about this flash. Other things that I just like to keep in the bag are memory cards. Literally, like, you don't want to be in that situation where you don't have a memory card and you're like having to go through and delete photos off of your card. Like, it just sucks. This booklet is just a really nice way to organize it. It holds CF cards and it holds memory cards. I get the SanDisk Extreme Pro or Extreme Plus. Those work best when I'm shooting raw photos. I have a lot of crappier cards that really just can't handle the job anymore. I still keep them in here just in case, but it's not really something that I use. I also have a dual camera harness. So this one I got off Etsy. Basically, you put it on like this. And it's perfect for the ceremony when you're really having to work quickly and you can't be like changing out lenses. You can clip them on, or you can actually twist them onto the bottom where you put like a tripod plate, or you can clip around. I have some like D-rings on some of my cameras, so it holds one on each side, and you know, I can have the 70-200 on one to get nice up close shots and the 35 on the other camera to get, you know, some wider angle shots. And yeah, it's pretty necessary for weddings. I keep just some extra lens hoods in here in case it's a super sunny day and I'm getting some weird lens flares that I just don't want. This is a lot easier to put one of these on your lens than to like be trying to shield that beam of sun with your hand or something like that. These are some silicone lens caps. I lose my lens caps like it's my job. So they're just stretchy and they can fit over pretty much any lens. And batteries. Batteries galore. I have a bunch. You don't want to run out of battery in the middle of the session. You know, they last a pretty long time, so it's decent. So it's not like something really that I worry that much about, but the last thing that I keep in my bag always is like a little cloth for cleaning off the lens. So I think this actually came with like blue light glasses that I bought, but it works just the same. It's nice to just have a nice clean lens before you start a wedding day. Make sure everything's like super crisp and there's not smudges and stuff stuck to there. And otherwise I just have some miscellaneous like cords and things, but this is what I bring with me to pretty much every shoot. All of this gear, I like to have options. I like to be prepared just in case of anything, in case we decide to pop into a restaurant or something. Like, it's nice to have my flash, even though I wouldn't normally plan on using it. And I'm gonna show you guys kind of like a top-down version of how I organize my bag. So I love this bag for so many reasons. You can move these little dividers around. They're just Velcro. You can put them wherever you want to make sure that your gear is super secure, especially if you're like gonna be flying or something with this, but you can create compartments to fit whatever you need. Like I said, I can fit my 2 bodies in here, this 70 to 200 millimeter lens. I usually even keep the camera that I'm filming on in here too, just as like a backup. But in these pockets back here, I got my memory cards, my batteries, some cords, lens wipes, all kinds of stuff that you could ever possibly need. And it's all super organized and easy to transport. I hope that you guys found this video helpful. If you have any questions about gear, don't hesitate to ask. I know that, again, buying gear can be really intimidating, but just remember, if you want people to invest in you, you need to invest in yourself. There is a point when the gear you have is going to hold you back, and you are going to need to upgrade to professional level equipment. So anyways, happy shooting with whatever camera that may be on.